I'm rejecting some more stuff in these last couple of days on the way to 40. That whole, you got to be twice as good to get half as much. I firmly reject that bullshit moving forward. I'm going to be as good as I'm going to be, and I'm going to get exactly what I deserve. If we keep repeating that story and we keep repeating that mantra, we're going to be attracting people who want us to do twice the work for half as much. That's no, 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 no. You stay over there. I am going to be as good as I'm going to be, which is excellent, and I'm going to get paid exactly what I'm worth at every turn. I don't have to be twice as good as anyone. I just need to be able to do my best, and I damn sure don't have to accept half as much. You want it? You'll pay for it. And that's in whatever realm, right? That's in relationships. That's in anything. I don't have to do double the work to get half of the return. That's not my life. That's not my destiny. That's not what God has for me. I have a life of ease. I have a life of abundance. I have a life where I'm valued, where my value is recognized, where people aren't asking me what I bring to the table because they recognize that I bring to the table. So that's a big one that I am recognizing. I'm rejecting that as I move forward. I ain't gonna do that. That's stupid. I ain't gonna do that. And no one else does either. Like, that's kind of the thing too. I know that as I live it out, people will recognize they can also live into it for themselves, whatever their story is. I used to say, I am hard to love. And I was okay with it, right? I was okay with being hard to love because some things you got to work for. I might be challenging to deal with, but I'm easy to love. And those are two different things. And that's okay. And so, there's blessing in loving me. There's privilege in loving me. There is joy in being a part of the circle of love that is my life. Now again, from time to time, that involves a challenge or two. But the loving me isn't the hard part. That's probably the easiest of them all. One new beginning. So, my official announcement that I've been accepted as a PhD candidate at Georgia State University in their instructional technology PhD program in the College of Education and Human Development. I'm gonna have a PhD, y'all. I'm so excited about that. And I laugh about it. And my mom and and anybody who's known me for a while, we laugh so hard about it because 2 years ago I didn't have a bachelor's degree. But in April I graduate with my master's degree in instructional design and technology. Graduation might actually be in May. I don't know. But before May 7th, I graduate with my master's degree, and I've been admitted to the instructional technology PhD program at Georgia State. I'll be a PhD student in the fall, which is super dope, and will bring opportunities to be a college assistant professor. WTF. What? For years, I've been in education spaces. I've been in education spaces consistently. And what I've realized in this master's program is that I belong in academic spaces. And I used to conflate the two. Education spaces are not academic spaces, and I was frustrated in the education spaces because what I really needed to be was in the academic spaces. I'm not going to argue with you on the day-to-day. I'm going to go on ahead and do the research to change the policy, then it won't be an argument. And that's where I belong. That's where my ideas belong. That's where the way I think about things actually belongs. And it feels really good to figure out that it wasn't, they weren't rejecting me. I just wasn't in the right space for who I am and for what I bring and for where I want to go. And so being in that space and knowing that I get to move certain conversations forward, this commitment to coming out an expert in a particular thing, in a realm that I care about and love, serving people that I love, manifesting my long-term goal, which is to change the way we teach teachers to teach our kids. If you didn't know, 52% of students in the U.S. are in Black, Indigenous, people of color, Hispanic, Latino. However, 80% of the teachers are not. And that disconnect in lived experience, that disconnect in culture, just unfortunately creates a world of harm. Sometimes intentional, sometimes unintentional. And so, yes, we do need more teachers that are Black, that are Hispanic, that are Asian American. But in the meantime, we also need to better train the teachers that we do have. We can't say that our kids can't get equity, our kids can't have justice in the classroom until they get teachers that look like them. If you're going to be a teacher in this classroom, you're going to promote culturally sustaining pedagogy, and you're going to ensure that kids leave your classroom equipped and empowered and knowing that they don't have to run away where they come from, but they can be better equipped to go back and change their communities in the ways that they see fit. And I get to be a part of that. Working with my professor, my advisor, for my graduate research assistantship, Dr. Darling has changed my life. Dr. Darling Adewana has changed my life. because it was in conversations with her about research that she was already doing, about research that she will be doing moving forward, being able to be involved in that, being able to co-author a manuscript with her that got accepted to a highly competitive conference. Super excited about that. That we will be submitting for publishing, like, and doing the literature review and like doing all these different things and synthesizing thoughts and actually being able to add to this body of knowledge that was like, oh, this is where you were supposed to be all along. I'm going to start a school. Super duper excited about that. Be looking for the Winona Hemingway Academy. I'm super excited about building on the legacy of my grandmother and my family and our love of learning, our love of reading, of creating the exact environment that I want to see kids flourish in. Like, I don't want to just do the research. I want to also be the example. So think of something kind of like a Ron Clark Academy, where he gets to see his pedagogy lived out on a day-to-day basis. I literally ended up randomly in a conversation with a friend a couple weeks ago that this person will probably be a friend for life now simply because of this one conversation. We were literally on the phone till the sun came up as I expressed the dreams and the desires that I have for this K-12 institution for Black and brown babies, this boarding school where therapy is freely accessible, where they are doing projects around the world, where they are learning things, again, not to escape their community, but to go back and be able to shape their communities the way that they want them to be, where culturally sustaining pedagogy is daily implemented and there's an assets-based approach to education. Like, yeah, are there things to work on? Absolutely. But do we have to focus on your deficits to get you there? No, we can focus on your strengths and we can use those strengths to build the bridge to get you across the gaps. And a place where kids are excited. And I see glimpses of it in some of the work that my friends are doing. So I'm excited to be able to partner, like with my sister Talitha, who has the Rise Anyabwele Academy. Like, I'm super excited to partner with people who are doing these other types of research that will be able to support families that I work with. Like, I am excited to build a school that my goddaughter can attend and have not a good education for a Black school, but to have the best education that the United States has available. Another thing that I'm excited about is, because I will be an expert in my field, being able to travel the world and help other people build schools that have these assets-based approaches to learning, that implement culturally sustaining pedagogy, that I'm learning from what they're already doing in places and being able to bring it back here to the United States. I'm taking a class right now and we're talking about Western concepts of learning versus other concepts of learning, and I realized that naturally I actually embody the principles of non-Western concepts of learning, right? I believe in learning for the sake of learning and like letting that be the joy. I believe of learning with your whole body. I believe that some of your most important learning takes place outside of formal education. I believe that there's learning to be had in every day, and these are actually not concepts that are really popular in the U.S. Like, the individual is highly valued. Formal learning is highly valued. I believe that, like, a part of learning is to build your community. It's not all for you. Some of this knowledge is so that you can go create what you want to see in the world. Not just work for somebody else, but literally go and create what it was that you needed when you needed it, even though you didn't have it, but so that the next person can. I'm excited to create communities of learning for kids and adults. I'm excited to create opportunities for people to grow and be and do and love themselves and others in ways that they couldn't do before. I mean, it's going to be fun being an expert in my field and having the credentials to prove it and to continue to do the research that validates it and that really changes what education can be and what education should be. Because education is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be uplifting. It's supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to change your life for the better. And again, I get to be a part of that, and that is a gift. I want to go all up, down, around the continent of Africa. I want to go where Black people are in thriving communities. Like, I want to see the diaspora flourish. And so that's my focus, is going to places where we have been given opportunities, even if it's like a small, like a microcosm, like to flourish and to build for ourselves. Much of the world thinks what Black people have is deficient. And it's just because you don't value it doesn't mean that it's deficient. And so I want to go and celebrate the beauty that is everywhere and highlight it and like just remind people that there's so much to be learned from others, in particular those who found ways to thrive when everything has been set up for them to die. In my 40s, I plan to adopt. So I'm very excited about that. Specifically want to adopt a sibling group because I've done the research and I know it's hard to keep groups of 3 or more kids together, in particular when they're older children. So I'm excited to adopt an older sibling group specifically, which will also involve me buying a house. I've like never wanted to own a home, but I'm like, oh, my kids need a stable place to stay. So looking into what that means to buy a house, and not even to just buy a house anywhere, but in the same neighborhood of the family, like of my goddaughter's family. One of the really sweet things about my childhood is that my auntie lived at the same address the next street over, so we're both corner houses. So there are a lot of memories of going down to my auntie Sally's house, my uncle Sonny's house, from being right there, and I want to be able to build that. A lot of people don't have that now, right? We live so far apart. You got to drive. It's not just a quick walk. You can't just wake up and decide. So I'm excited to plan to be in that community so that if she want to ride her bike to my house, Gigi, you home? I'm home, baby. Come through, and to build that kind of community again, to see that. I'm excited about loving well. First myself, because I definitely deserve the best of what I have to offer, but also like being in beautiful, loving relationships. I'm excited to grow with my soulmates. I say that because I don't think soulmates are romantic. I think they can be romantic, but I think they don't have to be romantic. There are people that make my soul sing, and there are people who I know I will be connected to for life, and I'm thankful for the privilege of knowing them. And I want to honor those relationships and build those kind of memories with my friends, with my nieces and nephews. Like, I'm really excited about the memories that will be built in this next season. To know that, oh, I'm in Kenya for the next 6 months. Who can come and hang out while I'm in Kenya? Like, let's build some memories here. Or, I'm in Brazil. Who's doing a project on Brazil? Come through. Like, and being able to help facilitate those kinds of experiences for the children that are, like, deeply connected to me, my nieces and nephews and my community of babies. One of my mothers in my heart is Maya Angelou. My mother bought me I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, and it changed my life. And after that, I wanted everything Maya. Like, I have poem books, I have like all of her biographies. Like, I'm obsessed. I got the Maya Angelou Barbie because she means so much to me. And one of the things that I love about Maya Angelou is she didn't write I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings until she was in her 40s. And literally, she lived like 2 different lives. She had the life she lived up until she wrote it, and then she had over another 40 years of living. Technically, she lived 2 lifetimes. It's 2 generations. A generation is 40 years, or however they do it, like 20 years. So she literally lived 4 different lifetimes in her life, which reminds me that, again, I'm not behind. I am literally just getting started. And there's a reason I've been drawn to her pretty much the entirety of my life, or at least the last 30 years of it. It's because she is a model that I am just getting started, and there is so much more to come from me, and I get to live a whole nother lifetime exactly as I'm supposed to be, built on the foundation of who I've been thus far.